So there is a lot going on right now. We have Sony basically responding to the CMA and everything they're doing, discussing Microsoft and Activision Blizzard deal. We have Microsoft actually responding to this deal and responding to Sony's price hike of their consoles. Both companies seem to be going back and forth continuously, and this has been going on for the last month now. You know the videos I've made, everything that's going on. Sony and Microsoft seem to be going head to head, and I think the fate of the gaming market and competition is up for grabs. Let's get into everything that's being said from Jim Ryan to Phil Spencer and everybody else that's a top executive at these gaming companies, because there is a lot to talk about. So let's get into it. Alright, so you know the drill. If you like the content, hit that subscribe button and that like button. And if you want to be notified on future videos, hit that small little bell icon. And if you want to go that extra mile to support the channel, hit that join button. All the support is greatly appreciated. Alright, so I just want to get right into this because there is so much to talk about that it's kind of insane. I feel like every other day there's a new update from some government talking about this Activision Blizzard deal with Microsoft, and then there's Sony jumping out of the bushes talking about how it's anti-competitive and like they're scared they're going to lose Call of Duty and all this stuff, even though for decades and years they've been dropping exclusives and basically telling people, you have a console if you want to play the exclusives. It's called the PlayStation. Well, it's funny that Microsoft is doing the same exact thing, and Sony is trying to stop it as best they can. Let's get right into the article and what's being reported. Sony has responded to the news that the UK competition regulator has launched an in-depth probe of Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard. On Thursday, the Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, said its inquiry into the $68.7 billion merger has officially been expanded to a second phase due to a number of antitrust concerns. Notably, the CMA is worried about the impact the deal could have on PlayStation's ability to compete, given that the deal would see Microsoft gain ownership of the Call of Duty series. Sony welcomed the news that the CMA is to expand its inquiry in a statement issued to GamingIndustry.biz. By giving Microsoft control of Activision games like Call of Duty, this deal would have major negative implications for gamers and the future of the gaming industry, it claimed. We want to guarantee PlayStation gamers continue to have the highest quality gaming experience, and we appreciate the CMA's focus on protecting gamers. Earlier this month, Xbox boss Phil Spencer said Microsoft had committed to making Call of Duty available on PlayStation for several more years after Sony's current deal with Activision expires. During this period, Call of Duty games released for PlayStation would have featured and content parity, Spencer said. Alright, so now that the regulators are going to be looking into this, and I feel like this was expected by Microsoft. They knew people were going to look into this because it's one of the biggest deals we've ever seen. So now that they're looking into this, Sony seems to be like, hey, yeah, look at this because we are so afraid we're going to lose Call of Duty. Not to mention, we need to protect our gamers, the PlayStation gamers, even though Sony does not give a crap about any other gamer outside of PlayStation. They do not care about anybody on the Xbox side. They have locked down content on Xbox that goes only to PlayStation with games that PlayStation and Xbox both have. There is plenty of examples of this. Destiny having strikes that are only on PlayStation, so you're charged the same price on Xbox, but you don't have content because PlayStation locked that down. Avengers has Spider-Man only on PlayStation, so you can experience it if you buy their console. So this whole thing just seems like a big hypocrite thing to talk about. PlayStation is one of the most egregious companies when it comes to exclusives and locking down big IPs like Spider-Man onto their platform. And I don't think that anybody should be talking to the CMA, especially PlayStation, when it comes to being unfair or wanting the highest experience for their gamers when they have gone out of their way to make gaming far less enjoyable on other platforms. They were one of the last companies to even try to get cross-play and cross-progression across the board for multiple games when developers, the industry, Microsoft, and other publishers were pushing for this. Sony has gone out of their way and have dragged their feet to even make things equal for gamers on every other platform. They just started putting games on PC and they're making them into great ports, but overall, Sony's PlayStation has been an ecosystem closed off in itself. So how are you going to demand what Xbox is going to provide you? Why are you going to demand Xbox care about your gamers when you don't care about any other gamer out there outside of what's on your little box and your little piece of plastic, which is the PlayStation? To me, I think the CMA needs to look into that. and start thinking about who is giving them this information. Because if you look at all the leaked profiles and all the leaked stuff that's come out from the governments, every other publisher has said this doesn't hurt them. That Apex Legends, Fortnite, and all the other games like Warzone and big games that are huge like Rocket League compete directly with Call of Duty, and World of Warcraft competes. All these games compete with each other, not to mention Final Fantasy and all the other MMOs out there that are owned by other publishers. So what Sony's trying to say is that they can't compete. They can't compete with what Call of Duty provides. They can't compete with what Activision does because they haven't concentrated on that form of gaming. We all know that Sony has a certain type of game, single player, over the shoulder type of game. They do not have anything that is even close or remotely close to a staple of a multiplayer game. Destiny is somebody that they bought, and they have that now, but it's going to stay multi-platform. So when you look at this, it's starting to become that Sony's just kind of walking all over themselves. They're tripping over their own feet. They don't know what they're doing, and I understand that they're dropping awesome games. I love that. I'm glad that they should be concentrating on that instead of worrying about what Xbox is doing and where Call of Duty is going to be. Trust me, what you said to other gamers for years was, if you wanted to play these games, come get our console. Your own fans were saying that. If you want to play these exclusives, come get our console. That was the statement being said. And that's the statement that I think Phil Spencer should use. If you want to play Call of Duty, come get this console. Or, like most people have said, go get a PC so you can play them all. That is the whole point of this. And don't get me wrong, this is coming off the heels of Phil Spencer responding to the price hike of the PlayStation 5, even though they just made it cheaper for them to make the console. They are going to price hike that. And Phil Spencer responded by saying this: Phil Spencer, I can never say that we ever won't do something, but I can definitely say today we have no plans to raise the price of our consoles. We think in a time where our customers are more economical challenged than ever, we don't think that would be the right move. That's the statement that Phil Spencer said after seeing that the PlayStation 5 had all of these price hikes and people have to pay more for them outside of the United States. I've talked about this before. The US didn't get a price hike because that is a market that Xbox is very strong in. They own the United States. They have for a very long time. They've competed with Sony for a very long time. While Sony has won MPDs and has won the United States market for a while, I understand that Microsoft has been there neck and neck with them, so they know it's a vital market, and that's why they didn't raise the price there. But overall, this whole thing, this whole deal, this whole Activision Blizzard thing, everything that's going on with the price hikes at Sony, everything going on with Microsoft basically combating this, is starting to get tiresome. I'm annoyed by seeing Sony complain about having parity. I'm annoyed by Sony saying that they need these exclusives to come to Sony because they're afraid that they can't compete with it. Well, you know what? Xbox wasn't competing for a very long time. You used to make fun of them. You were talking about them in commercials about used games, having those things where you had your CEO grab used games and mocking Xbox because that's what competition is. You demand better out of the people you're competing with. And that's everything that's happening now. Xbox is finally competing. Xbox is trying to get Activision Blizzard. And like I've said before, this isn't about the console. This is about mobile and PC gaming, 100%. And Sony is actually looking into PC gaming even more. They right now currently have a massive sale on Steam with the publisher of PlayStation. They are going to bring out their games on PC day and date sooner or later, and I don't understand this whole thing. In 3 years, we don't know what Call of Duty can be. In 3 years, we don't know what PlayStation could be. So what's the difference between having these games go everywhere or on PC and Xbox, and what's the difference if you lose out on Call of Duty when you have Destiny and other competitors like Apex Legends, Fortnite, and Warzone? That game, Warzone, is probably going to stay on the PlayStation platform because it's online. Just like all the other games like Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, games that Xbox has bought, not to mention the biggest one, Minecraft. Minecraft has stayed on PlayStation. Microsoft, if anything, has been way more lenient in helping other platforms keep games that are extremely popular there because they see a profit in it. Every company has one objective: make money, and make as much money as possible. Sony has that objective, and that's what's leading this little witch hunt that Jim Ryan and his team at PlayStation is trying to do. Call of Duty generates a lot of money for them. Far more money than any of their exclusives, and it's not even close. Because of that, they're worried that they're going to lose that revenue stream from Call of Duty, from Warzone, and Activision Blizzard games. That's what they're worried about, because it is a big buy, it is a big publisher, and Xbox, if you look at its history and you look at Microsoft's history, tends to play nice with companies that might be struggling with some of their moves. And I'm not saying that because PlayStation's a smaller company, I'm saying that because we know how big Microsoft is and we know where this is going to go. Overall, I think this is dumb. I think this needs to stop. And I want to see what the legislations and the regulators have to say about this, because so far, Xbox has been giving them all the right answers, saying they're going to be transparent, and saying they're going to give them all the Call of Duties on PlayStation when they want. But let me know what you think about this. Are you surprised that Sony is this adamant about losing Call of Duty? Do you think Sony is going to be able to recover if they do lose Call of Duty? Should Xbox be even more annoyed with all these little hoops they have to jump through? And do you think we're going to get Call of Duty be on PlayStation far more often, or over the 3 years, which Jim Ryan said was inadequate? Go down below and let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please hit that subscribe button and that like button. The support helps out the channel more than you know. And give me a follow on Twitter at Zalker87. I'm always on there talking games and sharing my latest videos. Plus, I love interacting with everyone there, so get on Twitter and let's talk about gaming. Also, follow me on Xbox Live. My gamertag is Zalker87, just like my channel name. See what games I'm playing, and let's compete in achievements for the month. So right now, I've been playing a lot of games. I've actually been jumping into a lot of World of Warcraft. I'm playing that with my buddies, having a good time. We boosted a Warlock in the Classic so I can get ready for Wrath of the Lich King. I'm also leveling up a Rogue, which is my favorite character. And I'm just having a good time there because I love World of Warcraft. I always go back to it every now and then, probably every year or every 2 years. I'll just jump back in with my buddies and we raid and have a good time. Not to mention, I PvP a lot in that, so I'll do arenas, and I'm just having a good time with it. So World of Warcraft, thumbs up. Can't wait for the Wrath of the Lich King to drop, and I might be jumping into the new expansion that drops later this year. And I've also been playing a lot of Days Gone and a bunch of other games on Game Pass. So I'm having a good time playing a lot on my PC, to be quite honest, because World of Warcraft is PC only. Not to mention, Days Gone is on my PC because I don't want to play it on the PlayStation. I want to play it with an Xbox controller or a mouse and keyboard. So that's what I've been playing. Let me know what you've been playing, because that's what we're here for, is to talk games. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, remember, enjoy your gaming. Later.